Greetings, all my loyal subjects. King Bob coming at you from King Bob's Kingdom. And today we're going to be trying to tame this beast of an MD-11. TFDi Designs. Taking it up to Tampa from Miami. So let's see, in this beautiful UPS livery, let's see if we can make this thing work, huh? All right, first things first. EFB, import your flight plan. There she is, Miami over to Tampa. Let's go up top. Batteries can come up.
Autopilot.
External power can come up. IRS 132 to nav. APU power can come on. The emergency power electric can go to arm. The emergency lights can go to arm. No smoking to on. Seatbelts to on. Nav comes on. This is the way I do it. Don't know if it's the true way to do it, but it gets the plane up and going for me, so learn from it if you will. While the APU is powering on, let's go to our FMC. Actually, let's go back over to, first we're going to send the flight plan to the FMC and set payload and fuel. FMC 1. We want to align the IRS. Flight plan in it. Initialize IRS. Some of this information is in. Let's fill in the rest. So we are Lex 5150. Oh. Help if I tried to dump it in the right spot. Bingo. Cruise is 240. Flight level 240. 24,000. Cost index is 84. The beautiful Orlando is the alternate. Page 2. Click next to block. Take off gross weights. Take off center of gravity. 0 fuel center of gravity. You're done here. Let's go back up top. APU's ready. We can come on. And then turn off the external power. And disconnect it. So now I like to do my flight plan next. So let's pull up that flight plan again. And if you're used to Airbus, this FMC will look pretty familiar to you. Pretty much sort of kind of the same. So flight plan from Miami. The SID is 12. Bingo's 4 to Korea. Not Korea. Korea. That'd be a far flight. We'll scroll down to Tampa, our destination. Our star is, we're going 1 left, Bullfrog 3, Korea transition. So star 1 left, Bullfrog 3, Korea. Insert. We're done with this. There's one thing I like to do. I don't know why Numlock is saying it's off. Turn it back on again. Hit the wrong key. So I like to pull up a chart here for Tampa. I'll show you why in a second. The Bullfrog 3. So the Bullfrog 3 star is going to dump us off at cruise, and then they want us vectored into this waypoint Selman. So let's take a look at that. So there's cruise, and then it's going to dump us in to one left. So from cruise, I think Lagoo would be a good point. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that chart for, yep, one left. So Lagoo to Selman. So what we want to do then is on cruise, click it, add Lagoo as the next waypoint. That looks good. Don't know why it's telling us insufficient fuel. Doesn't SimBrief know how to figure this mess out? Yeah, let's see if it gets us there. What did I do with my SimBrief profile here? That's bugging me. Freighter. We picked the right one. That's I don't get it. No big deal. Okay, we'll figure it out, or we won't. Clear the vector. Clear the disco. And we go from cruise to Lagoo to Selman to Tyner to the runway. And we can verify that. Plan. Step through it. Looks good. Perfect. Okay, good to go. Clear that master caution. Back to map. Let's set up FMC2. I like to do my takeoff data, my performance data. So over here to performance. Runway 12. Get the weather information. It's going to auto-populate. Get the takeoff weight. It's going to auto-populate. Calculate. So we're looking for 59, flex temp, 17, flaps, 22, and packs off. 59, 17, 22. 59 for flex. Packs are off. 17 for flaps. What'd I say it was? 22 outside air temperature. I have to put in the CRF, the Celsius or the Fahrenheit, so we'll do that. Dingo. And from TFDi, or is it TDFI? One of the two. From their quick start guide, if you do a 0/0 here for slope and wind, it should pull the speeds that the EFB calculated. So it looks like it did 36, 51, 65. 36, 51, 65. So accept all of those, like so. Good to go there. So then let's set up our altitude. It's got us at 24. Forget. Yep, 24. So for your initial speeds here, it's either going to be 250 or the VCL speed, whichever is higher. So we'll leave it at 250. And runway 12 is probably going to be about heading 120. I know for a fact it's 124, so we'll just dial that in. I got that from the charts, by the way. Not magic. Uncage this. Back up top. Everything is looking hunky-dory up top. So what flaps did they give us? 17. I could also check that. Oop, wrong one. Here. Flaps 17. So we need to set our dial of flaps. That's funny. Dial of flaps. Set dial of flaps, and what that does is that gives you a range in this section right here. I think it goes from 10 to 28 maybe. So basically your flaps are going to go up to slats, to the dial a flap section, which will be whatever you dial in here, to 28 to 35 to 50. Beautiful. Okay, we are getting ready for pushback. So let's turn our beacons on. Turn our logo light on too, since we're UPS, because why not? Engine ignition, we're going to go A today. You can use A or B. I think they use them depending on the day of the week. We're going to go down to auxiliary hydraulic pump 1, turn that on. While we're down here, let's get our brakes to take off. Altitude reporting to on. And standby the transponder. And we can call GSX to push us back. Swissport. Sounds good. Little cinematic view by Chase Plane, which is a very cool program. Can be a tad bit buggy. Some issues I have with it, always having to create views for similar aircraft. I think actually different liveries. Kind of annoying, but they do set up quickly, so. But I love this stuff. I don't know if Flyby will do anything. Nope, Flyby will not. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not, but I thought on their quick start guide, they said after you dial in your initial heading to click down or pull on that knob. Don't know if it really does anything, but we'll do it anyways. Lock and gear, we can go over here to services and disconnected wheel chocks. Doors are all closed. We want 12, that's nose right. They're telling us engines are clear to start. So starting them are pretty easy. Start with engine 3 first. Wait for N1 to get to, or I'm sorry, N2 to get to 15%, then feed it fuel. Engine 3 is going to roll. Set our range there on the navigational display. This will click back in when the engine is ready, and then we can move on to, like it just did right there, to engine 1 is the next in sequence, 15%. And we can introduce some fuel. Waiting for those to come alive. Let's set our stab trim, which is 6.2. Engine 1 is done. Engine 2, wait for 15%. Parking brakes are set. GSX will disconnect us from the tug. And then we're ready to get the heck out of here. Over to Tampa today. See if I can make this work. Nope. Blew through the 15%. No biggie. Once those engines come alive, we'll clean it up top and get us set for taxi. Good. Up top, AP bleed can come off. Where's our friendly workers out there, GSX workers? Once they give me the go-ahead, I'll turn on the lights so I don't blind them. Animations on that tug. Something don't look right. Hope it's not gonna park there. Looks like this guy's giving me the high sign. Good to go. Up top. Nose light to taxi. Down below. Transponder to TARA. Speed brake set. Flaps, we're going to move down to the dial of flap position. That's slots. Or dial of flap position. Notice it did not go through the gate. And just like that, we're ready to taxi. Parking brakes are released. Give it some power. We'll head out to runway 12, which is right here. Now let's see if I can do this takeoff properly. I always have issues with it. Still learning the mechanics behind it. It seems easy enough. Notice this plane does not have an autopilot button, but it has an auto flight button. What is that? It has an autopilot disconnect. Very interesting. So you set yourself up on the runway. You click the auto flight button. It sets, I guess that basically turns on, well, gets auto thrust ready to be engaged. And that gets engaged once the thrust levers are, or I'm sorry, once N1 is above 70%. The magic barrel reference key, even though we're in perfect weather today. Taxiing, taxiing, taxiing. So the procedure is auto flight, thrust levers to 70%, auto thrust or takeoff thrust will take over, auto throttles will engage, rotate above 400 feet AGL, which we're about 20 now, so about 420, we'll say 500. Then we can click auto flight again, which activates autopilot. You'll see it over here, it'll say AP. And then we can then activate the prof and the nav, and we should be good. Let's see if it works. I guess prof is for vertical navigation, and nav would be like LNAV. Excuse me. Did we take it? No, we didn't take it any of that equipment over there. How about a glamour shot? I love chase plane. The flyby view is the beautiful MD-11 taxis. All right, enough of that because we're coming to the end here. Try to maintain center line. Tip on center line that I heard from somebody else is keep your reference point between your knees. I like keeping things between my knees. And since this plane is big, we will overshoot that a little bit and try to maintain that center line. Easier said than done. Now we're going to hold short here at the hold short line. If you actually look at this plane on the outside, the front of the nose where you sit is way far ahead of the actual nose wheels. Well, you got to keep that in mind when you're making these turns. Plus, this is a big, heavy beast anyways. Okay. Back up top, we're getting ready to hit or enter a runway so your landing lights can come on. Your nose lights can go to land. Your high intensities, aka strobes, can come on. Everything else looks good here, though. I thought we were supposed to have packs off. For the takeoff. There we go. Now we will flip them back on once we get going here. Kill that master caution. I have no idea if I'm doing that correctly, but we're going to try it anyways. I believe I've read or heard someplace that the packs rob power, so that probably has something to do with it. Get more power on the takeoff roll. Let's wait till we're just about there to start our turn. I probably did it too early. We shall see. I don't have a tiller yet. I'm using my rudder pedals for this. But I do have one coming. Just why not? And don't be afraid to use the outside views. I use them all the time. That's good enough on the brakes. After all, we are playing something that is 3D in real life and 2D. So it's difficult to judge stuff. Okay. Procedure. for takeoff. First of all, make sure everything's good. Flaps, speed brake, TO for the brakes. Packs are off. Flip them back on once we get airborne. So you'll notice on TO clamp here, click auto flight once. That box goes away. Auto thrust is set. So let's spool up our engines. I don't know, 40% or so, 50%. Go forward pressure on the stick. Slowly rotate, or slowly push your throttles forward to 70%. We're eventually going to look for takeoff thrust, which it says right there. And roll down the runway. Maintain center line all the time, as best you can. 80 knots, back off. There's V1. And there's rotate. Positive rate gear can come up. About 18 to 20% on that initial climb out. Auto flight, AP1, prof and nav. Let's go turn those packs back on. My goodness, I actually did it right this time. Chase plane. So, 10 above FR. Throttle flaps can come up. 10 above SR, your slat retraction speed, which would be about 230. Can retract our flaps fully.
Stabilizer motion.
Stabilizer motion. Love that. There's 230. Flaps are retracted. Looks good. Autopilot 1. Since we're below 10,000, it's going to keep us at 250. We can clean it up a little bit. Speed brakes disarmed. Auto brake off. I find this display a little bit hard to read. Got to zoom in on it a lot. I like the old schoolness of it. But sitting in my normal position, sometimes these things, I wish it had like the call outs too, like the PMDG does. 80 knots, V1, rotate, stuff like that. Because that's hard to see on here. Coming up through 8,000. And we'll go through our usual routine up top. Once we hit 10. Landing lights can come off. Nose lights can come off. Seatbelts can come off. We are a freighter plane today, so there's not many people on board. Not many passengers on board, I should say. Stabilizer motion. Tis a beautiful plane. And some more chase plane cinematic views. See you in Tampa. So this plane will auto-tune ILS, which is perfect. But I'm going to make sure we have a handle on it just to make sure. So Tampa approach 1L. There's no star charts either, which they would love to be able to do. So a couple things we're going to need. We're going to need 1700. We're going to need 211 for the decision altitude. And what else did I want? Oh yeah, 108.9 and 7 for the course. You don't have to do this, but just in case it doesn't, I'll be able to at least copy it and then paste it into here. But so far it's done what it needs to do. And we will be doing a flaps 35 landing today, so our VREF will be 159. Nothing you have to do here, which I like to. Okay. And then up to 18,000, you just pull, which is on the bottom of this switch for standard. Like so. Doesn't really change anything here. I think it just, like if we weren't already at 2992, I think it just would have put it back there. I got to double check that. What I click here, I guess we could set our minimums. Now that I come to think of it, it's 211, so we want Barrow. Guess we can only do 210, huh? Can't do ones on that. Interesting. That's fine. 210 will work. So far the plane is doing what we expect it to do. UPS Worldwide Services. And we're just about up to cruise. And for sake of time, I will, once we get up to cruise, I will see you back here. Get ready for our descent once we are approaching our top of descent. Let's take a look, see what we got here. There's our top of descent right there. It's about 80 nautical miles. Let's show that over here someplace.
Altitude.
Means we're capturing our 24,000 feet. Altitude. You keep hearing people say that's bitching Betty. I don't know if that's true or not, but I remember bitching Betty from the old F-16 Falcon days way back in the day. Yeah, I gotta Google that. There is 24,000 feet. And top of descent about 62 nautical miles away. So I'm going to leave you there. And I will be back once we get closer to top of descent. And we'll finish this flight, and we will try to land this beast, because that's not easy. See ya in a bit. So guess what? I'm back, and we're slowly approaching our top of descent here. About another 15 miles, so we just want to make sure we're getting ready for that. I've dialed in our altitude for our final approach fix, which is 1700. Decision height 211 or 210 is close enough. And then the other thing you do is you roll your dial of flaps to 15. But basically we're going to go slats, dial of flap, which will be 15, 28, and then flaps 35 for landing. I believe, if I recall correctly, we can lower our landing gear after flaps 28. Not really sure. We'll figure it out. But we're slowly coming up on 7 nautical miles to the top of descent. So far everything's been going great. It should descend. Let's see. Two to go. And there we go. Looks like we have a restriction of 4,000. Right there, looks like we got a restriction of 4,000 at cruise. Okay, he's going to come down. A nice healthy rate. Chase plane, woohoo! This is so much better than old school doing this. It just is. Not there's anything wrong with the old way of doing it, but the chase plane's so much better. See, these sitting in a normal pilot seat, these magenta, it's hard for me to read. I love that, again, it's modeling the old school displays, but man, I gotta zoom in because I'm getting old. So this isn't too much, isn't too far off from a Airbus. Just basically have to click the approach land once we get close. Once we make our turn onto that final approach course there. And it should capture the localizer and the glide slope. Does this have any performance information for landing? It does. So we are one left. It's dry. Get that. Can we get the landing weight? We can. So let's try auto brake minimum. All reversers. And let's see. Yeah, it gives us plenty of room to stop. We'll do a minimum. I'm going to do flaps 35 landing today, so no worries. Well, why not set that up now? Minimum for the auto brake. Or the brake. Wonder why we got a warning light, a master caution light that went out. We're below our transition altitude, so click up on it. Not that's going to change because it was already 2992, but since we're running in perfect weather today. Now landing on this beast is it's different. We're going to be pulling the flare about 40. Auto throttles will be on the whole time, so we don't have to mess with that. Not like the 738. The thing I find difficult is that this plane sits way higher since it's much bigger than like a 7.3 or a 320. So that reference point of you're hearing the countdowns, you know, like, you know, 50, 40, you're starting to flare. I don't get that sensation that I'm that high, that low above the ground, basically. It's very strange. It's hard for me to describe. It takes a little bit getting used to. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it touches down before I think it should touch down. Even though it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, that sense of where you're truly at in the world, it's not the same as a 7.3 or a 320. Obviously, those planes sit lower, so it has a lot to do with it, but it's going to take some getting used to. And basically, I flew the month of December on nothing but the PMD G738. Yes, I know. Shoot me. But the fantastic plane. By the way, this MD-11 was upgrade price. Really was the price of a cup of coffee, $5. Even though $5 for a cup of coffee nowadays is a lot of money, but because I had purchased a 2020 version, so I got this for $5, which is good. That being said, the PMDG stuff, their 738, if Phoenix is one, in my humble opinion, PMDG, the 738, is 1A. They're that good. Sorry, they just are. That goes for the 777 also. Love that plane. Descending nicely. through 11,000. Beautiful Florida weather. I think I have the month rolled to August, maybe mid-August. My type of weather. I love the heat. I love the humidity. I prefer the deep south. So far, so good. I have not had, this is my 6th flight in this beast. Haven't had any WASM crashes. Anything that's gone wrong has been my doing. Just getting to learn the plane, basically, so. All right, I'm going to go up top. I like to turn my seatbelt signs on now. She's going to descend rapidly through 10,000. Okay. Below 10,000, back up top. Landing lights can come on. Nose light can go to land. Don't know if that's correct, but that's what I do. Once we land and vacate the runway, these will go off. Nose light will go to taxi. It wants some drag, so we will give it to it. We will extend the speed brakes. Make sure we're on profile, which we are. Looks like it's happy. Speed brake can come up. I'm still trying to figure out my flap schedule on this. Typically, in a Boeing and like a 737 or 77, I do flaps 1/5, about 15 miles out. And then about 6 miles out, gear down flaps 15, and then flaps to landing flaps. So I don't know what I'm going to try with this. It's basically slats, dial a flap, which is 15, 28, and then 35. Coming down nicely, and Tampa Bay's out in the distance over here. Want some more drag? We will give it to it. If we have to, we can take over speed. We don't anticipate having to, but we can always do that. So it seems to be flying nicely right now on its own. It is a lovely plane, though. Look at the size of the engine 3 back there. All right, is that Lagoo? Yeah, once we turn Lagoo, start thinking about trying to slow this plane down a little bit here. So start to slow us down again. FM speed is working beautifully. It's almost a direct shot in.
Altitude.
Coming up to our, we got a restriction here at 2600. Someone above 26 and then down to 1700 at Tyner. There's a runway in the distance. We need to start slowing this thing down. So let's extend our slats. Turn on approach land.
2500.
Dial a flap. We're going to go down to flaps 15. I feel we're coming in really fast.
Stabilizer motion.
Tyner is about 3. Here can come down. Flaps can go 28. And to 35.
Stabilizer motion.
Arm and speed brake. We're still fast.
Stabilizer motion.
Stabilizer
1000.
motion. 159. Where's it? 165 it's got us. 164 BAP, 159 BREF. Okay. My plane.
500.
Wish me luck.
400. Approaching minimum.
Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Minimum.
Glide slope.
200. Minimum. One hundred, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reversers. Try to maintain center line. And that was actually a pretty damn good landing. I shock myself sometimes.
Spoiler.
Spoilers all, flaps can come up. Welcome to Tampa. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that landing. That's the best landing I've done in this plane so far. Let's get off the runway. So happy I can't even get off the runway. Disarm the brakes, the auto brakes. Okay, we're gonna stop it right here. Landing lights can come on. Nose lights to taxi. Perfect. Excuse me. As much as I should go to cargo in Tampa, I have no clue where that is, so I'm just going to park it directly in front of me. Wow. I again, shocked at that landing. I got to look back at it. It probably wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was, but it seemed smooth to me. Typically, I'm clunking this beast down. I think what I could clean up right now. I gotta really look at a checklist, but I'm not truly worried about it. If I can manage this turn. It is a harder plane to turn. The size of it. I do like it though. There we go. Give it a little bit of juice and the plane will go. Where it'll go, who knows? This spot right in front of me. Probably not going to fit spot 55 because I can't drive 55. That looks good. Parking brakes can come on. Go up top. And we will Get the APU going. In the meantime, let's go to services. Let's connect the GPU. Let's set those wheel chocks. Turn on external power. Nose lights can come fully off. Seatbelt signs can come off. Gonna turn on the APU bleed, shut the engines down, turn beacon off, and then we'll call it an evening. I can fly this plane. APU power can come. Oh, APU. Ah, crap. That's not what I meant to do. Darn it. I broke it. Now we'll wait for it to come online again here and do what I was supposed to do. Turn APU bleed on. I didn't break it. Or did I? APU does take a bit of time to power up. I guess while we're at it, we will. No, can't do that yet. Shut up. GSX won't go away now, so APU bleed is on. Engines can come off. Beacon can come off. We're going to close out the flight that we flew for Fly Lex. We'll take a look at that. We're going to request a deboarding. And that is how I fly an MD-11. So, let's take a look at New Sky first, because I did track it via that. Horrible score, of course. What did I do wrong? Ah, really? Minimum landing weight exceeded. Well, the touchdown was good. Why did I get dinged for that? Must have been something I did. Yeah, well. That's going to kill me. $7. Lost money. Yeah, maybe I won't fly this for Fly Lex anymore till I figure out that minimum landing weight stuff. I'll figure it out. I'm sure it was something I did. $144 in Elevatex. Nice landing too. Well, that's going to about do it for me. So this is King Bob. Hopefully you learned something today. I know I learned even more about this plane. I really do dig this plane. I like it a lot. So thank you for staying around the whole time, watching this video. It'll be upwards of an hour, it looks like. But thanks much. If you like this stuff, give me a like, maybe subscribe. And this is King Bob. To all my loyal subjects, see ya.